This recording is going to discuss qualifications of candidates, both external and internal, and address options for managing the qualified selection pool that the district has in place today. So currently when I have a particular job requisition, I have all of my candidates that have been either applied or attached to that requisition, and again I can see whether they are internal or external. As those candidates move through the process, let's say that I have a candidate in hiring manager review, that candidate can then at that point get pushed to qualifying. Once the candidate is in qualifying, typically that is the step in the process where someone from the Human Resources Organization is going to drill into John Ramon's profile at this particular point, or in this case, and start to vet out the things that he had put in his application. So now I can go in and look at the qualifications that he's put into the application, his education, his credentials, his background, and go ahead and vet that. So now I can go into his talent profile as an HR administrator. I can see his employment history, his education history, and you'll see that for each of these competencies and skills, education, credentials, achievements, there's an area here as an HR professional where I can come in and say, yes, this particular item has actually been validated. So in this case, for his education, his Bachelor of Science degree, I can come in here and say, yep, I validated this on this particular date. And now I have that as part of his record. So in this case, I've been able to track and see that I've validated this. Now, competencies and skills may be validated through other places, such as the interview process or through discussions with the candidate. Things like my credentials, my teaching certification, other achievements, those can typically be vetted through your internal processes as well as the employment history. For internal candidates, you had mentioned in your video that you keep track of and go through processes to pre-qualify those particular candidates for particular selection pools based on the job codes. So for an internal candidate, for instance, let's go into Sarah Allen. I can drill into her profile. There are a couple of ways that you can manage a qualified selection pool. And depending on what your internal processes are, and as we move through the process and discover that in a little bit more depth, we'll have a better idea of what way might work best for your organization. So one of the ways that we can capture information about an employee is on their profile. So in this case for Sarah Allen, I'm going to drill into her profile that we have, and this is an area that we could actually capture and store information about which pools she might be qualified for through the HCM organization. So one of the things that we can do here is in competencies, skills, or credentials, actually set up, and in this case I set up one as a credential for the Qualified Service Pool 56, which is our job code that we have set up for a technology specialist. And I can see that the source for that particular credential is our district HR. I can even put in expiration dates and whether or not those are essential for a particular position. And we can use those qualifications and those credentials on our job applications to automatically identify internal candidates that might be qualified for particular positions. We can also use it to manage the process of when I need to go through a review process to ensure that those particular candidates or employees are still qualified for that particular service pool or selection pool. So we can use tools within the application to manage the process of validating credentials and then assigning which qualified selection pools each particular employee is eligible for.